Everyone, welcome back to my next video. Today we're going to have a really special treat. The company that makes Zero Breeze air conditioners emailed me and said, hey, we'd like to send you a Zero Breeze. And I said, yeah, let's do that. The biggest problem in van life is staying cool in the hot summer. And of course, the answer is just to be a snowbird and move to a location where it isn't so hot. But sometimes you just can't do that. And for the majority of us, that works. But even then, sometimes you just can't avoid being hot. And then you have, like me, Cody's running around here somewhere. You'll probably see him sometime. You got a dog, or you got a cat, or you have some other pet. And so the heat is critically important, life and death to them. And if they're uncomfortable, I'm uncomfortable, and I don't want to be uncomfortable. So being able to provide air conditioning is a really big deal. So I was delighted when they reached out to me and said, let's test this. I said, yeah, send it to me. Here it is. We're going to test it out. Let's get right to the biggest problem. Two biggest problems are cost. It's $950 without any batteries. And so that's going to eliminate the vast majority of my audience. There are a few of you who can afford that. And so for you, this is something you should consider. And the power draw. This thing draws 20 amps at 12 volt. That's really, really high. And so you've got to have a lot of cash on hand to spend $950 on this thing, and you've got to have a pretty big power supply. I'll have to do the math on figuring out how much power you need. I have 720 watts and two Battleborn lithium 100s. I'm sure I can run this thing without any problem. But if you're like most of us, you have 200 watts, a single battery, you probably, you can't. You just can't run this thing. It just draws too much. It's a specialized item. And if it's just out of your league, I would, maybe don't even watch this video. Why create lust for something you can't have? But because there are a number of you out there that can use this, this is for you. But don't, if you are on a really tight budget, just know this is not for you, and it's information to have for down the road. You're going to win the lottery, right? We're all going to win the lottery. There's just no question about that. So when you win the lottery, then this will be in your league. But until then, I'm afraid for most of us, it's not. But it's well worth checking out for those who are. All right, enough blithering Bob. Let's talk and show them products. Okay, first a quick unboxing. Manual, and oh, this is also a remote. Very cool that they give you a remote. This is the hose, just like all air conditioners. This is an actual real air conditioner, and it creates moisture that's inside the unit, and this is the hose to exhaust it out. I would just put this in and put it in a 1 gallon jug and then fill that. Probably once a day you'd have to empty it. I'd guess. I haven't seen it yet. There's an exhaust and an intake hose. You really want to run them outside, and so an exhaust and an intake hose, and they extend. And you can see they actually get fairly large, fairly long, and it's not as full, but pretty long and pretty far. This is not a powerful air conditioner. It's 2,400 BTUs. It's smaller than a window unit. Your window units are going to be quite a bit more than that. So to make this as efficient as possible, because they're aware people are going to have a limited amount of electricity, this is a 24 volt air conditioner. Now it's important that you realize that when we do the math on how much it draws, you got to go from 12 volt, not from 24, not from 110, but 12. So I'll show you how that works here in just a minute. So when I say it's 20 amps, that's 20 amps at 12 volt, but it's only 10 amps at 110. Yeah, so when you plug this in, it's only drawing 10 amps off the 110, but the 110 is drawing 20 amps off of your 12 volt battery. And a lot of people miss that, and that's really important when you're calculating your total usage. It's pretty good size. I think it's 20 inches by a foot approximately, maybe 14 inches tall, something like that. It's going to take up a bunch of room in your rig. I think you just put that right there. And then that snaps on there. And that's how the exhausts go. And this one goes on here so you can aim it at yourself. And that's going to be the key to understanding this unit, is you're not going to cool down your whole van. 2400 BTUs is not enough. You're going to cool down yourself. This is small area cooling. So you just can't have the idea you're going to cool down the whole van. Say you have a high top, an extended van that's 12 foot long. You're just not going to cool down that whole space. It just isn't going to happen. In fact, and what you're going to do is you're going to sit wherever you normally sit, and you're going to turn the unit, and you're going to attach this, and you're going to have it blowing at you. And it will put out a lot of cold air, and it will cool you down. It just won't cool down the whole space. And as long as you understand that, then have proper expectations of what this thing's capable of, then I think you might like it really well. If you can afford it, both in the initial cost of buying it, $950, and the cost of power, which is a lot. It's very high. Now, part of the packaging is something something you want to keep. This is a a window unit. You pop these out, and then the hoses go through it. So you can see, so like your front window, you can, this is just fabric. I don't know what this is, foam. And you can cut this to any size of your window. And this would be a good, easy way to put this out of a van, is to exhaust it out through your front windows. It comes with a battery and a cable to connect it. So now you've added a battery, and there's another one you can buy and add a second one. Okay, so let me give you the prices of this thing. It's $950 just for the Zero Breeze. You run it off your own system. It's $13.99 for one battery. What you're seeing right here is $1,400. You paid $450 for the next battery. And if you buy two batteries, it's $17.99, which means that the second battery that you buy on top of this will be $400. And if you just buy a battery, you buy the unit, and then you say, oh, I should have bought a battery, and you order the battery, that's $650 just for the battery alone. So if you're going to buy a battery, you want to buy it as a kit because it drops down substantially. It's still, it's very terribly expensive. What you see right here is $1,400, $13.99, $950 just the unit alone. It's 240 watts at 24 volts. That means it's 10 amps. So at 12 volt, once you plugged it into your inverter, it's 20 amps at 12 volt. So it's a very high draw, and most of us can't really afford that. So if you have a single battery and it's 100 amp hour and it's not a lithium, then you can burn 50 amps a day, and this thing takes 20 amps an hour. So you can run it 2 hours and you're basically done for the whole day out of that battery. Now, if you have some good sun coming in, you can extend that, but not a whole lot. You're not going to run this thing overnight. It's just at 20 amps at 12 volt is very, very high. You'd have to have a very big system to run that. I think I do. I think I could run this a lot. It's supposed to drop 30 degrees off ambient. So if it's a $100 degree day, 100 degrees in your van, then that will bring you down to about 70 degrees right in front of it. Again, area cooling, not big area. It's not going to cool the whole van. It will cool, hopefully, you, and we'll test that with time. It's 16.5 pounds. It's fairly heavy. So it doesn't have much tolerance for being out of level. It really wants to be level. I happen to have my Blue Eddy right here, and so let's see if we can run run it off the Blue Eddy. It's full. I did double check to make sure it was full, and it is. Oh, it feels cool. It's actually kind of a warm day, and oh my, that's very comfortable. So there we go. That's just the initial unboxing. I've turned it on. I've run it. It went down to 54 degrees, and of course it's sitting out in the hot sun, and that's not doing it any good. It's pulling in hot air. It got down to 54 degrees, and I would think it would have gotten much lower than that had we been inside under better conditions. And I'm just, I'm fooling around. I don't have a clue what I'm doing. My Blue Eddy ran it no problem, just fine. It's not going to run it a long time. That'll be the big experiment. I'll take it inside and have the conditions be good and proper, and I'll run it off the Blue Eddy, and I'll give you an idea how long this Blue Eddy will run it. I'll And so, we're going to learn more. We're going to experiment. Let me give you one idea of how this could make an enormous difference to you. Say you have a dog and your biggest fear in your own life is you're harming your dog in the heat. Let me tell you how this could play into that. So you're going to go into a store. That isn't that all of our biggest problems? We have to go into a store. So if you're in the van, if your dog is kennel trained, and your dog really should be kennel trained if you're going to live this life. Um, if you can put your dog in the kennel and put a blanket over the kennel, and you turn this on with the hose going right into the kennel, he will be cool. I mean, this will keep your dog really cool that way, and you won't have to worry about it at all. And if you can plug it into your system, if you have a good system, put the battery on. Um, I think that alone, if you have the money to spend, might be worth it. One of the things to do is wait till and of course I'm shooting this at the very end of January, and so it's not very hot. Even now, I'm in the full sun. As you can see, I'm squinting, and it's still not very hot. And so it's way too early to be testing this. And as it gets hotter, then I'll, get into some 80, 90, 100-degree days. Then we'll begin to know more about it. So far, so good. It looks really good. It works well. My Blue Eddy runs it. I've got plenty of power. I can run it, I'm certain. And I'll give you an idea as we go along. So I'd really like to know what you think. Is that just kind of ridiculous, $950 for this thing? And you would never do that? Or Bob, why are you saying those things? Because I can't ever afford that. And I know a lot of you can't afford that, but it's just because you can't. There are those who can, and they're part of the audience too, and I want to speak to them. I'm not making any money on this. They're not paying me. I doubt if I'll keep this. I think I'll give it away. But maybe, who knows? Maybe it'll just become so compelling that I'll keep it. Because I have a dog too, and he's really important to me. So we'll find out. But I'd like to know your opinion. Leave a comment below. Exactly. Be nice. If you're not nice, we'll delete your comment. So be nice, because that's the only way you're going to get a comment. I mean, you can tell me how wrong I am and how bad and ridiculous this is. I don't mind your opinions, an honest opinion. Just don't be nice about it, how you say it. That's all I ask. Okay, so if you got anything out of this video, like us on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, hit that thumbs up button, and we'll talk to you later.